Hey guys, welcome back to yet another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube channel updates. Thanks for joining me again. We are up to November 4th, 2022. Boy, there's a lot going on in the music world right now. And there's a ton of stuff getting announced for next year, early next year, which is pretty exciting. So be on the lookout. Keep watching these. I'll keep you updated as to some things that are happening. But we got to get through this month first because November is typically one of our biggest months of the year. Lots and lots of new releases coming out, plus Black Friday Record Store Day on the 25th this year. So with that being said, let's get to some of these new releases because I've got a major stack. And I don't know if there's anything like massively popular this week. Nothing like the Beatles' Revolver last week, which was a pretty sought after new release. And but there's a lot of stuff still filling in. And anyway, gotta show all this stuff to you, keep you informed. Billy Joel, live at Yankee Stadium from 1990. This is kind of a nice tome here. 3-record set. Brand new, 22 performances from his historic run. Newly mixed and mastered from the original tapes. Features 11 previously unreleased performances, including Uptown Girl, Only the Good Die Young, and Allentown. Billy has sort of made a career out of nostalgia touring, as it were. Hasn't released an album in about 30 years, at least not one that was not classical, and that was even 25 or whatever years ago. But his earlier stuff is pretty much undeniable. And I think that's going to be a really good collection for people. Another thing I'm really excited about this week, and people are like, yeah, but we've already had hits collections from him. I know, but these are the ones, right? Prince, hits 1 and hits 2. I love this guy. Would have been great to see the B-sides come out. And I'm kind of hoping that ends up being maybe a record store day thing down the road or something. But this is pretty cool. They already released that Forever compilation that was like a box set that came out, I want to say like a couple, 3-4 years ago, maybe. But these have never really been released on vinyl, except I believe Hits 1 was kind of released through his website maybe last year. And there are different versions of these out there. These are the black vinyl versions, but I like my music, my Prince music, black like Prince. And so anyway, that's a little like inside joke, I guess. But so the great thing about these really Hits 1 and Hits 2 is not only does it cover most of his big hits, especially all of the early ones, which were the ones people remember. Some of them are also, or many of them are the single versions or the single mixes. So they play more like what you would have heard on the radio. And on top of that, there are 3 non-album tracks on here that you need these for if you're a Prince fan. Hits 1, this one features Pink Cashmere, which was a kind of a minor hit. I don't remember ever seeing a music video for these, but that was kind of a minor hit as released as a single. Hits 2, this one also featured 2 unreleased or non-album tracks. Peach, which was also released as a single, and Pope, which was kind of more... Peach was like a rockin' track, sort of like a heavier Cream, Peaches and Cream. And Pope was sort of more of a kind of a dance track a little bit. But both great songs. Actually, all 3 of them I love. And so, yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer if you're a Prince fan. Also, sort of down that route of late 80s, early 90s kind of artist. And this guy, boy, I loved him when he first came out. Seal. This is his debut album on vinyl, finally. Now, I have to say a few words about this because I have been crowing about this album and the second one, the one with Kiss from a Rose, for years. This one has Crazy, which was kind of his big breakthrough hit, and Killer, which was a big hit in the UK. And here it was kind of more an album track, but then George Michael also covered it on one of his live EPs. My thing with this album is I think it's fantastic. Trevor Horn produced it. You would know Trevor from his work with Yes on Owner of a Lonely Heart, Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Relax, ABC's The Look of Love. I mean, he did very big produced sounding records. I've been asking for this on vinyl for years now because it was made when it came out in 1990, 91. 91 in the UK on vinyl. It never came out on vinyl in the US. And so it's been pretty impossible to find. I kept saying, like, put this out for a record store day so people can finally get, because, you know, they were doing things like late period Steely Dan albums, and, you know, Warner Brothers was kind of doing these things, and this was on Warner. And so their decision was to release it here with a slightly different cover. Okay. I mean, and they spread it over 2 records, so the 4th side is an etching. All right, it's going to sound good. But then they added 4 CDs to it. So, I mean, it's more of a box set in that sense. It's great because there's a whole unreleased concert from 1991. And in that era, I think it's interesting because his record was very kind of like produced and, you know, big budget. And but some of his live stuff had a more of a acoustic vibe to it, and it was really cool hearing his kind of raspy Peter Gabrielish vocals over something that was a little more rootsy, and it kind of, you know, I thought there was a lot of variety in there. So you get the remastered CD, you get 2 discs of remixes and rare. A lot of these are what they call pre-mixes, which are early mixes of the songs that, and I'm sure that some of those have to be quite different because Trevor was constantly tinkering with these things, the live show and then the vinyl. So it's not really break the bank expensive. I mean, it's around $80. You can see it's sort of thick there. And I don't know if there's like, it looks like there's some kind of extra book or something in there, not a big one. But yeah, if you want Seal and, you know, you like Crazy and that you can finally get that. I have a feeling that at some point down the road, probably in another 3 years or so, there will be a standalone vinyl. That's just my guess. But if you really want it for now, I'm sure it sounds good too. The other thing that I should kind of mention, the Prince connection, is that Wendy and Lisa were in his band on that record, at least in the studio, because they had sort of been dismissed from Prince's Revolution by that point. They'd done some solo work, or I guess solo, duo work, and trying to make it on their own as artists under the name Wendy and Lisa. And they weren't having really big hits or anything. And, you know, Trevor heard them as very talented and said, will you play on Seal's record? And so you kind of hear some of like what I would consider like sometimes the unique chord changes that would be in Prince's music applied to that album as well, especially the second Seal album. I think you really hear it on not necessarily Kiss from a Rose, although it's a great song, but some of the other songs from that album too, quite a bit. Anyway, moving right along, another very cool release this week, The Police, Ghost in the Machine. Now, this is a picture disc, all right? Yes, you see that. But what's cool about this is it has a different track listing than the original album and a different running order. And basically what they're saying is that the Police wanted to release it this way, and the record label kind of forced them into releasing it the other way. So while Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, the big hit, is still on here, instead of being like the opening track, it's buried down at the end of the second side or near the end. So this includes 3 bonus tracks, B-sides that were added back to the track list. So you get, it starts with Invisible Sun, and then Demolition Man right away is the second song. Secret Journey, Darkness, Spirits in the Material World, Too Much Information, and Omega Man round out side 1. And side 2, or side B, is One World, Rehumanize Yourself, I Burn for You, Hungry for You, Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, Once Upon a Daydream, and Shambell. Very different. If you're a Police collector or Sting collector, I suggest getting this. I don't know why they didn't save it for Black Friday Record Store Day, because it seems like that's the kind of thing that would have ended up on that. But, you know, that's cool that it's sort of out there for the world to get, at least while they're making them. Again, it's picture disc. I don't know how many of these things they made. They're probably going to run out fairly quickly. So if you're interested, I wouldn't delay. It's a definite collector's piece. Well, it's about time. On vinyl, Stranger Things 4. We've been waiting for this since the summer. It's been released on CD long ago, and I can't tell you how many copies of Kate Bush's Hounds of Love I've sold because Running Up That Hill was so popular. Well, it's on here too. So 2 LPs. It starts with Separate Ways, the Journey song, but it's the cool remix that they used in the show, which was very different. Then here's the track listing: California Dreamin' by the Beach Boys. Interesting. Psycho Killer, Talking Heads. Kate Bush, Running Up That Hill. Dead or Alive, You Spin Me Round. They did use that quite a bit in the show. May Arnett's Chica Mexicana. I don't know if I'm butchering my Mexican there, or Spanish. Play With Me by Extreme. Detroit Rock City, the single version by Kiss. I Was a Teenage Werewolf by the Cramps. Pass the Dutchie by Musical Youth. Yeah, that was a single too. Wipe Out, the Safaris. Object of My Desire, single version by Starpoint. That's record 1. Record 2 is Rock Me Amadeus, the Gold Mix by Falco. Travelin' Man by Ricky Nelson. Tarzan Boy by Baltimora. Dream a Little Dream of Me, Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong. Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, single version by Rick Derringer. Fire and Rain by James Taylor. And the last side, Spellbound by Susie and the Banshees. Master of Puppets by Metallica. When It's Cold, I'd Like to Die by Moby. That was definitely featured in the show. And then you get the extended remix of Separate Ways, that same remix. So nice. Glad it's finally out. Okay, First Aid Kit. This is their first new album in 3 or 4 years, called Palomino. Can't wait to check that out. This is on limited edition white vinyl. 2 Tone Poets came out this week. Blue Note, still at it. These look great. Bobby Hutcherson's Stick Up. And this one features Joe Henderson and McCoy Tyner, some big names there. And then we also get Harold Vick. And this one is called Steppin' Out. And it features Blue Mitchell and Grant Green. Also, Big John Patton, who was not big at this point. He was John Patton. But anyway, those are 2 that I think Tone Poet fans, Blue Note fans, you're going to be wanting those. There is finally a reissue program happening for Steely Dan. Can't Buy a Thrill. This is the first album. And this is the one with Do It Again and Reelin' in the Years. And many people I ask, like, what's your favorite Steely Dan album? And many people say this one. There's also a campaign. This was pressed by Universal. There's a campaign of a UHQR series of these being done by Analog Productions, which is like $150 box set. But those I don't think I have access to right now. So if you want those, probably should order direct from them online. Bad Brains Rise reissue. This one is fairly difficult to find, I think, on vinyl. This is the first repressing of their 93 album. So, yeah, was it even pressed the first? I mean, I guess if it was probably very limited numbers since it was from 93. But those are going to be pretty popular, I think. Well, hitting the 90s vibe, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, whatever you want to call him. No Way Out. This was Puff's biggest album, and this is the one that featured I'll Be Missing You with Faith Evans and 112 dedicated to Biggie Smalls. All About the Benjamins is on here. Yeah, that's sort of probably a little, I don't know. Is that controversial now? I suppose. Been Around the World featuring Notorious B.I.G. and Mace. Victory featuring Notorious B.I.G. and Busta Rhymes. I mean, Biggie is all over that record. So, and then not to be outdone, we also get Mace's Harlem World. Pastor Mace. And this had the smash hits Feel So Good, What You Want featuring Total, and 24 Hours to Live featuring DMX, The Lox, and Black Rob. This is on limited edition translucent blue vinyl. This is on limited edition white vinyl. So, 2 hip-hop classics. Add to that a third hip-hop classic on a different label, Busta Rhymes, When Disaster Strikes. And this record, yeah, trying to remember, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Could See was a hit. Trying to remember what the big ones were. Anyway, well, it says Dangerous, Rhymes Galore, and one featuring Erykah Badu. So, and that is limited edition silver vinyl, 25th anniversary. My God, these things, it's hard to believe they're trying. Here's another 25 years. Spice Girls, Spice World. This is the limited edition clear vinyl pressing. And this features Spice Up Your Life, big hit. Stop, another big hit. Too Much, another big hit. Viva Forever, that was a big hit in Europe. And gosh, the great Never Give Up on the Good Times, which is sort of like their mantra in a way, right? New Steve Lacy, and this record is called Gemini Rights. It's his sophomore record. He is going to be on Saturday Night Live as the musical guest this week. Not a whole lot of information on the outside of the cover. Typical of modern records, right? New Vance Joy. This came out on CD a little while back. This is featuring the singles Missing Piece, Don't Fade, and Clarity. His third album. Vance definitely has a fan following, so if you like him, you might want to check that out. Excuse me, one of my favorite artists of the last 40-some years who is still reissuing classic records. And I showed one a few weeks ago called Manaphon, and this is another David Sylvian. I would call this a classic at this point. I mean, I know that, like, you could call almost anything that's 20 years old a classic, but this is about almost 20 years old now, I believe. And Blemish, this was an album he did quite a bit of it with Christian Fennis, who's kind of a experimental electronic musician. And David was from the group Japan, had a very extended kind of solo career. Played with a lot of people like Robert Fripp, Bill Nelson, Ryuichi Sakamoto. I mean, sort of, and a great singer-songwriter, vocalist. This is the first time on 180 gram vinyl. This was his divorce album. And his connection to, well, weirdly enough, if you didn't know, this guy was that David was recording at one point at Paisley Park in Minneapolis, working on, I guess, solo work, and met a woman named Ingrid Chavez, who had been in Graffiti Bridge, Prince's movie, as an actress. was kind of a protege of Prince's. She sort of did a lot of like spoken word and poetry kind of mixed with his music. And David and Ingrid started up a relationship, got eventually married, had a couple of kids, and then got divorced around the turn of the millennium. And this is David's divorce statement album on that issue. So a little electronic, a little experimental, and kind of depressing in a sense because it's about their divorce. But it's a very good album. Also, Keith Jarrett. And this, we got the CD a few weeks ago. This is the Bordeaux concert from 2016. In 2018, Keith suffered 2 strokes and was not able to perform after that. So this is one of his sort of latest or later documents of his talent and abilities. Here it is, a tribute to Leonard Cohen. This is another Blue Note release. This is pretty cool. It's got Norah Jones, Peter Gabriel, Sarah McLachlan, Gregory Porter, James Taylor, Iggy Pop, Mavis Staples, David Gray, Nathaniel Rateliff, and Bill Frisell, among others. It's very cool. It's all Leonard Cohen songs, so, and Blue Note, so you know the quality is going to be pretty good. Let's see. New release from Tom Skinner on Nonesuch Records. This is called, I think it's just called, it's not, Voices of Bishara. I think that's how you say it. Tom is a drummer and sort of an avant-garde drummer, and done a lot of work in the jazz field, and his most recent sort of work of renown was being the drummer alongside Johnny Greenwood and Tom York of Radiohead in the trio The Smile, or Smile. So I think it's The Smile. Anyway, this is sort of like, if you're into like Sun Ra, Makaya McCraven, things like that, which are sort of more experimental jazz records, that might be to your liking. There's a Menzingers reissue this week, and this is a kind of an interesting release. It's on color vinyl. It's called On the Impossible Past, and it's basic, and then On the Possible Past. So these are like outtakes, B-sides, things like that, sort of like more rarities. So if you've got people that you know that like Menzingers, that might be something to pick up, because I think it's sort of relatively difficult, has been difficult to find. Iris Dement, Infamous Angel. Great album. It's about time that this came out on vinyl, remastered, limited edition, earthy brown vinyl. All Music says, an album to be cherished and played as long as one has life to listen. I have had customers who, decades after this came out, because it came out in 1992, were still looking for CDs of this, or, you know, it was a very popular record when it came out. Features Emmylou Harris, backing vocals. Jerry Douglas plays dobro. So it's a great record. Let's see, and then one on Yep Rock that got a reissue this week, Nick Lowe's At My Age. This is the limited edition silver vinyl anniversary edition of that. All right, and let's see. Oh, well, it's Christmas, right? So we can't have Christmas without some new stuff from Switchfoot. It's their holiday record, their first holiday record, which is interesting because they were always kind of sort of a, I guess, contemporary Christian type band that made it big. It's funny how it says this is our first Christmas album wrapped around the Christmas tree that's fallen over on the beach. Features the songs California Christmas, New Year's Day, and Silent Night. So I think you sort of get the idea. Another Christmas record. The man is still at it, Andrea Bocelli, and this is his Family Christmas, which also features his son Mateo, and what looks to be maybe granddaughter Virginia. So yeah, and they do sort of typical stuff. Over the Rainbow is on here, though. I'm not really sure how that fits as a Christmas song, but whatever. And then the last and a Christmas record is the Scott Weiland Christmas, featuring different artwork than the original release. And this is on green vinyl. Contains 3 previously unreleased tracks, limited edition to 3,000. First time on vinyl. Oh, get it fast. It's going fast now. I don't know. Scott had such a great voice that, and I believe this is sort of down the path of like sounding a little bit Frank Sinatra. So there's that. As far as other things, there are a couple other things here. I'm not gonna like take too much of your time. Billy Joel, if you want it on Blu-ray, there's this little package here that you can get that. This has got the film, right? So I believe that's Blu-ray. It doesn't say. And then also waiting for the vinyl on this. It should be coming soon. Seth Avett does the songs of Greg Brown. And is there anything? Oh, we're also waiting for this, the big versions. John Mellencamp's Scarecrow. There's a remix of this. Say it's been remixed and remastered. Previously unreleased bonus tracks. This is the double CD. And there's stuff on the second disc, like Under the Boardwalk, which I think he had sort of a famous version of that at the time. There is a big box set for that. Well, let's see. There's also a new one from The Lone Bellow. See, I didn't have my CDs ready to go. If you wanted Charlie Brown Christmas, so they did this deluxe one here a couple weeks ago. It's a 2 LP edition, Vince Guaraldi, and this is sort of the CD redux of that. It's reduction, the 2022 stereo mix and recording sessions highlights as a bonus. Let's see what else. I'm sorry I didn't have these things ready to go over here. This actually is available on vinyl. I just don't have it right now. Monty Alexander live at Montreux. So if you want to get the Montreux sessions, there's a new POD. This is called When Angels and Serpents Dance. I think that's available on vinyl too. New Joji called Smithereens. If you're familiar with Joji. And what else am I missing here? Oh, new Alicia Keys, Christmas album, Santa Baby. All right, and I think it's only on CD for right now. I hope that they get the vinyl out before Christmas, but you never know. Barbra Streisand live at the Bonsoir. My French is not great. Greenwich Village, November 1962. So very early Barbra, kind of when she was really just more of a stage persona at that point. And Howard Jones, new album called Dialogue. I think there might be a vinyl coming for this. I don't know when. So it's supposed to be sort of electronic. His last album was to Transform. That was a good album, actually. All right. I think that's everything. Look, I'm under 30 minutes, but, well, that's got to be a first in a while. So I didn't have a soapbox to get on today, but I will say, let's not have an Operation Doomsday, all right? Get out there and vote next week because Election Day is coming. If you're of age, you really should do that for America. Do something for your country, all right? And I don't care well, I do care. But what I'm going to say is, vote your conscience and let's, keep hope alive. All right, we need it these days. No more attacking of people with hammers, please. All right, thanks. And have a great weekend. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure. Take care. Peace. Enjoy the music. I don't know. Bye.